Talk Radio. You're in to all things music.
This is Going to Get Loud, the working musician's ultimate guide to striking a new path through today's music industry. With your host, Paul Nicholas.
All right, welcome everybody. Today we're talking with Dave Craver from Open Mic US. He is the CEO and founder of the largest open mic network in the country. Dave, how you doing today?
Excellent, Paul. And how are you, sir?
Good, man. Good. And so thanks for being with us. So we want to talk today about open mics across the country, not only what you guys are doing, but how open mics can benefit both cover and original artists, the pros and cons for both, and you know how these guys can really maximize exposure out there. So first and foremost, tell us a little bit about what you're doing with Open Mic US nationally. Tell us what's going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. We are, as you mentioned, the world's largest promoter and operator of live music open mics. On the promotion side, what we did in about 1998, we started out, and based in Atlanta, we spun up an open mic website in 84 markets. We are all over the U.S. We're all over Canada. We're Australia, New Zealand, and all over Europe. In terms of what we're doing in the U.S. for the open mics and how we promote, our websites like openmicchicago.com, openmicnewyork.com, openmicmiami.com. So each market has its own unique domain that addresses open mics, and that allows us to be number one in the Google search for anything to do with open mics and a city name. So if you were to go and type in, say, Open Mic Chicago, we'd be number one in Google. People click on that. And when they get there, they find a bunch of open mics listed for Chicago. And so what we do is we offer anybody that's hosting an open mic, any venue that has an open mic, they can go on our site, click Submit Open Mic, and they could submit their information for free, and they'll be listed on our website. So in addition to that same database that we use there, we also have an Open Mic Finder app, and so you can download that for your Android or your iPhone and easily find open mics from your phone. We also have 40 Facebook pages and 40 Twitter pages that allow people to communicate and be part of their local open mic scene. So if you're in Chicago, you could type in the Facebook Open Mic Chicago and find the Facebook page that's affiliated with that. And that's really where a lot of people who play out at open mics like to communicate with each other, and people post information about things that's going on. And we also, on the top 40 markets, we have a Twitter feed. And in that Twitter feed, we actually put the daily open mic.
Okay. And so answer me this. So if you're an emerging artist, what are the benefits of joining not only, Open Mic US, but what are the benefits of doing an open mic as opposed to seasoned players? Should seasoned players even get in on open mics? Because there's a lot of, back and forth pros and cons for doing that. What would you say for each level of the game, the guys that are starting out and the guys that, have been doing it for a while?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great point. The thing I've learned about being involved with open mics for about 20 years is that it's not one-dimensional at all. It really is. It's got a lot of applications, and it can be applied to everybody from the very beginner all the way up to guys that have played in major bands and toured all over the world. And so to kind of go through the different levels, to start out at your beginner level, it's a great way to, it's your first foray in front of an audience of any kind. So you're able to actually, take your guitar, your keyboard, your instrument, get on stage, play a little bit, and get that feeling for what it's like to play in front of a live audience. Of course, most people are terrified. I've actually had the honor of being a host for 12 years at an open mic outside of Atlanta. And the number of people that I have been privy to their first ever performance in front of an audience on a stage, it's probably in the hundreds. It's insane, and it's really a great feeling because every single musician goes through that. Everybody. Eric Clapton had his first stage. I promise you, it's just like everybody else.
Yeah, myself included. And, full disclosure, Open Mic US is a partner with Showslinger. Dave and I are good friends. And, Dave, I've done a couple of your open mics, and it's a heck of a lot of fun. What advice would you give to, artists that are going to their first open mic, that are just getting ready to get their first exposure, just get their feet wet? What advice would you give them to be, successful and really, get their feet wet there?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, get 3 or 4 songs, the 3 or 4 songs that you're going to perform, and nail them. Just get so comfortable at home that, when you're sitting there playing by yourself, you don't need to look at the lyrics. You don't need the music. You've got these songs so that when the nerves hit and you're on stage, at least when you start to play, you can get lost in the song. Also, take a deep breath and don't speed up. Your number one inclination when you get on stage and you're nervous is to play the song fast. My first song on stage was Turn the Page by Bob Seger, and I always tell people that it basically was the disco version of that song.
It was about 180 beats a minute there.
And alone my way.
Well, that's kind of funny that you say that because, me being a drummer for so many years in drumline, and I performed in drumline, I taught drumlines forever, and that the nerves, it would always, no matter how trained you are, no matter how many times you practice with a metronome for no matter how many years or hours, you would always pump it up by, even 5 or 10 beats a minute. I mean, significantly because of nerves. So that's actually a good point. Take a deep breath, slow it down, and just focus on yourself. And forget the crowd and get lost in the music. So for the seasoned folks, because there's a lot of people out there, and I've met them over the years. You've met them over the years, who would say, "Well, I don't think that's for me. I've been playing gigs, I've been getting paid, I've been on tour, I've done all these things." What would you say to those folks that have been doing these things? Would you? I'm talking about cover musicians and original musicians. Would you recommend them going to open mics, and why?
Yeah, absolutely. First off, I get tons of musicians that fit both of those categories: original performers, cover guys that come into my open mic and into my company's open mics. And it really is the guys that come in, they've taught me exactly what it is the open mic is doing for them, and it makes total sense. And that's why I'm in tune with this. First off, if you are a cover guy and you get paid to play, let's say you're out making $150 to $300 a night playing in a bar. And the thought of you don't go to open mics because you don't play for free. Now, I've heard that argument all day long, but you should consider this. When you walk through the open mic, you don't have to bring any equipment. All you have to do is bring a guitar. You get an opportunity to network with a guy who's the host, who is very, very close to the ownership and management of that bar. You can talk to him and say, "I would like to audition. I'd like to get a gig here. What do you think I should do?" And that guy who is the host is probably going to know exactly the steps to take to get that gig. He's also in a position to say, as I do in my own mic, you come through the door, you tell me you want to audition, I will make sure I go get the owner or manager, whoever's in charge of hiring, and bring them out and say, consider this guy for a paid cover gig. Okay, so the number one use for a cover guy is to actually go and get booked for a weekend paid gig. Everybody would love to say, I'm booked all the time, I don't need to go and fish for gigs. The problem is bars come, bars go, they close, they change ownership, they change ideas, they want to change musicians. So you can be full one week and then all of a sudden you don't have a lot of gigs the next week. So, if you're sitting there and you're scratching yourself and you don't really know the next step, perhaps you should go to your local open mic site, type in open mic, your city name, go to our site and check out some of those open mics for potential bookings.
And so there's typically no fees or anything to get on to the site, and it's fairly easy. Would you recommend these guys show up right at the beginning, in the middle, or the end? Because, it kind of feels like sometimes a show, if you get there in the beginning, there's nobody there. In the middle, maybe you're going to get the biggest crowd at the end. Maybe people are drifting off too. What would you recommend to emerging artists? When should they get there for maximum impact?
Yeah, absolutely. I recommend that everybody get to the open mic. You plan to be there right when they start, if not 10 minutes before. What happens is the list fills up. And so if you're there early, what you want to do is sign up for a primetime slot. So let's say my open mic runs 7 to 10:30. You get there at 7 o'clock. You sign up on the list to play at 8:45 or 9 o'clock when the maximum amount of people are going to be there. So that's definitely every time. If you can show up early, do it. Plan on staying, the whole night. Have some dinner. Show support for the venue. Show support for everything going on there, and then you're going to basically give some love, and you'll get some love back.
Yeah, and that's one point that I wanted to make, because there's a lot of people, and this happens with original bands too. They go up there, say they're in an opening spot, they play, they leave, and that just looks bad. When you go to an open mic, you're not just there to play your 3 songs and leave. Stay there, give love to the other people. It's more of a networking event than anything else, right? So if you really want to make your time spent well or valuable, make sure you shake every hand, talk to every person, anyone who claps, go out, talk to them, business cards and all that kind of thing. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's, for whether you're a cover or original, it's the same. You've got an audience. This is an audience. They've never heard you before. They've never seen you before. If you're trying to get a gig in that bar, how let's say you're a cover guy, how valuable would it be to go up and shake the hands of all the regulars and hand them let's say, hey man, why don't you get on my email list so when I come back here and play, I can send you a note. You'll know, if you like my stuff, and you'll collect an insane amount of emails, and you're really going to do. I mean, in the cover world, there are 2 kinds of gigs. There's the gigs where you can walk into a venue and they've got a ton of people and they just need somebody good to play. And then there's most of the other ones, most of the sports bars, most of the places out there where they're going to look at you and say, how many people can you bring up? And it's kind of like the same gig with the original band, is how many fans do you have that you can bring into my bar that'll justify me paying you to play here? And
yeah,
so
and I think that's a very important. I'm sorry, I was going to say that's a very important point to make. That is the number one thing, for all you emerging artists out there. That is the number one thing that any venue cares about. How many people can you bring? So even if you're a seasoned artist, you can kind of look at an open mic as a magnet to pick up, new faces, new crowds. Network, get your name out there even more, and there's nothing wrong with getting an extra 5 or 10 people to that next gig. So you can also look at it as free promotion. You might sell a couple of records or anything like that. And I would even argue for the original bands that are on tour. Everybody might have a show at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, but why not do an open mic at 6, 7, or 8 right before the show? And get some people to come to your next gig. I mean, what do you think about that?
Oh, and the whole original thing is, it's really another category of using the open mic. So let's say I'm an original singer-songwriter, or, you know, I'm the front man for a band. And, you know, I can either go out by myself, or I can go out, you know, with my drummer, and we bring in a cajon. You know, we can bring the whole band, you know, depends on where we are, what we're doing. But at the end of the day, I have people all the time come into the open mic, and their original music, that's all they play is original music. That's all they want to play. That's who they are. They're in town on a tour. You know, they're actually touring the East Coast. They're touring the country. They use the Open Mic Finder app as they go from market to market to find the open mics. I had two amazing original bands at the open mic one night. Both of them, I've never seen them before. Both of them, I said, "Oh, well, have you ever heard of the Open Mic Finder app?" And both of them just turned their phone on and just pushed the button and said, "Well, how do you think we got here?" I was like, excellent. The world is coming into line, and people are finding the app, and everything is good. So I was very pleased. And these guys were both amazing. I mean, they were two bands, full-on bands, and they walked in, and both of them, it's like they had, you know, I actually wrote a book called Make Music, Make Money. And it's very pithy. It's very short. It's very concise. It's me just saying, do this, do this, do this. It's basically the path.
The roadmap.
It's a roadmap. It's a path to go from amateur musician to professional cover guy. Right? It's not really geared for the original musician, but if you want to play in bars, you want to make a few $100, you want to be that guy, that brown-eyed Margaritaville, you know, dude.
That's how you get there.
That's how you get there, man. You read that book. I've had people read it and go, "My God!" I mean, I've done these things that you said, and it just worked. So, but the nice thing was that these guys, these are original guys. It's like they've read the book. You know, they got up on stage, they played, they got off stage, they had dinner, they had some drinks, they walked around with
And we're going to pick right back up there in 1 second. Dave Craver from Open Mic US.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on InnerTalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hey, it's Tracy Smith
and Beth Venus
of Girls Talk Rock right here on the InnerTalk Radio Network.
Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific.
Okay, Beth, they know that, but we want you to know that the industry pro's choice is Silver Tiger Production.
STP is a full-service production agency offering sound, lighting, installations, talent buying, staffing, backline equipment rental, and sales. Kapow!
It's everything in the entertainment performance industry. It's all that. SilverTigerProduction.com.
This is Going to Get Loud, the working musician's ultimate guide to striking a new path through today's music industry. With your host, Paul Nicholas.
All right, welcome back. We're talking with Dave Craver, the CEO and founder of Open Mic US. And so before the break, we were talking about which open mics to go to and why, and how they're going to benefit you, whether you're an emerging artist or somebody who's established. You can really promote yourself, pick up new fans, or break into that new venue. You know, even if you're a band on tour, you know, you can always go a day early, pick up an open mic, start networking with people in the city, break into a couple of new venues. So, Dave, one thing we were talking about during the break was some of the new initiatives that you guys have going on there at Open Mic US. Tell our listeners a little bit about what you guys are doing nationwide.
Yeah, absolutely. We've spent, like I say, about the last 20 years really building up the online network with 84 websites and 40 Facebook pages, 40 Twitter pages, and our own Open Mic Finder app. And all of that is designed to really allow the end user, either the musician hobbyist or the pro looking for an open mic, just the easiest way to find the most accurate information they can. And what that's done is allowed us to gain a really, really strong following, a strong audience of musicians that rely on us for that information. During that whole time that we've been doing the online thing, of course, we actually have been running live music open mics in Atlanta. And so we have decided to use our knowledge of open mic operations and our ability to really convey where to go and play to the musicians and roll out a turnkey program for full-service bars and restaurants where they can actually contact us, and we will come in. We'll bring in a host who's always a professional performer. He'll bring out the PA, the sound system, all the equipment necessary to run the show. They will actually run the show, and then what we do is we focus our promotion power on that open mic in that city. So a few months ago, we started reaching out to various venues and referrals and things around the country. And, we're about to open up, I think, Tuesday is our first night at Rubio's Backyard in Austin, Texas. Austin is an amazing music town, and we're just really looking forward to a huge turnout there of all kinds of different musicians. We've got a place in San Antonio. We've got a place in Philadelphia now. We've been operating down at the Green Iguana in Ybor City in Tampa for the last, I think, 4 or 5 months. And I think you know about that one.
Yep, you bet.
Yep. And so we are we're out there, and we've been getting a steady stream of inquiries from venues all over the country who, these are places we're not trying to go in and replace an open mic that's already there. What we want to do is reach out to venues that maybe haven't tried open mic, or they don't have it now, or maybe they tried it in the past and it didn't work. And the difference between, just hiring, a local guy that maybe can piece together an open mic and hiring our company is that what we do is we reach out and we find that same guy. We'll find that guy who's connected in the local market, who plays out on the weekends, who maybe is a guitar teacher, somebody who's just immersed in making his living in the music world, and we'll hire them as our host. And then what we do is we then say, okay, we have an email list. Let's say it's in Chicago, and we have 9,000 people on our list in Chicago. So we can send an email to 9,000 people who have registered as an open mic musician and say, hey, we're starting a new place over here at Bob's Cafe on Wednesday nights from 7 to 10, and Joe Smith, who's the front man for this band, is going to be the host. We've got a great sound system, a great stage. We've got lights. Here's what you can expect to see. Here's what you can expect to find. And here's why you should come out. And so
it's all about vetting the host and the venue. I mean, that's the real deal. Exactly.
And what we do is when it comes down to finding the right host, we have over 2,000 registered hosts in our database. These are guys that have submitted information that said, I am a host and I want to be contacted as a host, and so we're able to communicate with them. So if I'm going to Chicago and I've got 25 guys in Chicago that are registered for host, I can send them all a note saying, "Hey, we got a new venue looking for a host. Anybody interested?" So we get a handful of guys that respond, and then we talk to each one individually, and then we try to choose the very best one, put them in place. And you know what? As a venue, it's nice to know that if the host doesn't work out, they can come back to us and we'll get another one. Not every host, not every musician and host, it fits. It's not the right thing. So if you're dealing with an individual and that individual doesn't work out, the open mic goes away. With us, if the individual doesn't work out, we get you another one. The open mic continues.
Yeah, and it's just like playing any other venue. I mean, you've got to have the right artist for the right space. And so the question that I have is, there's a lot of artists that have come up to me and said, "Hey, not only am I interested in getting into, the open mic scene, but how can I become a host? What steps can somebody take to get involved? And, what are the benefits to them? I mean, are they going to be in this super network now of people? I imagine they would be the nexus of the universe at these, these different venues that they're working at."
I cannot recommend highly enough the benefits to a musician of being an open mic host. When I mentioned earlier, I said that even the guys.
I mean,
that have
you're getting paid while you expand your network, right? So.
Yeah, every Wednesday I go. It's 3.5 hours. I have a free dinner. I have free drinks. They pay me well. I set up some equipment. I hang out with my friends. I've been doing it for 12 years in the same place. It's so autopilot, and I tell you, the musicians I meet, my network is insanely large. I mean, I never hurt for a gig. I mean, if I ever wanted to say I need a cover gig or I need an original band gig, I mean, all I got to do is put an email out to my network of musician friends that I've met at my own open mic, and instantly I get tons of love, tons of response, and everything I ever wanted, instantly. And it's all because I put in the time to get paid to run an open mic.
But so the question that I have is, listeners out there will say, well, that's great for you, but if I join this open mic network, do I have the same advantages, or am I working for you, or do I get to essentially grow my own business?
Well, absolutely. And what's awesome about this moment in time is, like I said, a couple of months ago, we decided to go ahead and reach out to venues. And instead of just, jumping on the internet and looking up a venue in Austin or looking up a venue in New York and just calling them or sending them an email, what we decided to do was to put out an email to the 110,000 open mic musicians saying, "Hey, you know what? We're expanding our network. We want to run open mics in every city in the country, and we're looking for new hosts and new venues. If you're interested, let me know." I got over 300 responses from one email. And the standard response was, "I've always wanted to be an open mic host. I've been at open mics. I think they're awesome. I have my own PA system. I've just started playing out. What can I do to get involved?" And so, to our listeners, it's exactly the same pitch, if you will. If you would like to be an open mic host, if you would like to work with the number one open mic company in the world, which is your best chance of having an open mic that's successful, then the door is open. We can, my email is dcraver, DCRAVER @openmic.us. And
yeah, and so they get I'm sorry, OPENMIC.us. Right. The benefit, though, is that they get, your promotional machine behind what they're doing. So they're not alone out there, which I think is what's daunting to a lot of people. Okay, I've got a PA, I've got a couple of cables, a couple of mics, but, getting the word out is kind of, it's daunting, but you've been around there for such a long period of time that you take care of that component. So, what can these guys, expect to make for an open mic, and what kind of hours are they working?
Yeah, absolutely. And the machine is exactly what we bring to the table. I had some guy He runs a studio in L.A., and he shoots me back an email and says, why should I work with you? Why can't I just walk into a bar by myself and run the open mic? What do I need you for? I mean, just a real shitty kind of thing. I shot it back and I said, do you have the #1 website for open mics in L.A.? Do you have a Facebook page with 1,200 followers that it's all about open mics in L.A.? Do you have your 20 years experience in running open mics? Do you have national sponsors to help drive traffic? I mean, it just blew my mind. But the reality is it's a valid question, but we have the most valid answer ever. I mean, if you're in Chicago, like I said, I know the number off the top of my head. We have 9,000 musicians on our email list. Our website gets thousands of visits every single week. So, it's a no-brainer to think if we want to push a particular open mic over another open mic, people are going to respond. And it's just, I've done this. I started an open mic in 96 on my own, and I was lucky enough to hit a vein with a bunch of people, and it ran for 3 years. But I look back, and it was really dumb luck. It was before the day of internet. I mean, this was word of mouth at its finest. And, so the machine is everything. The driving people through the door, putting butts in seats, and having them spend enough money to validate the fact that they're going to pay a fee for somebody to be there is the game. Well,
that's the whole thing. I mean, look, anybody can pick up a guitar and go into a bar and say, I'm going to play some cover songs. I'm going to play some Tom Petty. I'm going to play some U2. I'm going to play some Brown Eyed Girl, whatever. Great. There's a million people that can do that. But who can put the butts in the seats, period?
Right.
And
exactly.
that's it.
And when you
it's the guys that advertise and have the machine behind it.
You go in with us, we got the machine, and guess what? You're probably going to make more money working with us than you went in on your own. We offer $125 a week, $100 in cash and a $25 tab per show. So basically for showing up and setting up some equipment and being the MC and probably playing for a total of 20 minutes, you're going to make $125.
And typically what times are those running from? I mean, are these late night gigs or are these early gigs where, if you're an artist, you could pick up a late night cover gig on the same night?
A lot of guys do it. Like I said, the one I run, we go 7 to 10:30. That seems to be a really good slot. Also, 8 to 11 is really kind of the wheelhouse, either starting at 7 or 8. So at the end of the day, you're looking at a midweek gig where you're not getting home at 3 o'clock in the morning. You're home probably by 11 or 12, and it's done and over with. I mean, instead of watching Barney Miller reruns, you're out making some real money. And, you could run 2 of these, so all of a sudden you could make an extra $1,000 a month. And that, for a working musician, that could make a difference.
Yeah, that actually makes a tremendous difference. But I didn't really understand the Barney Miller reruns there. You're starting to upset me with that. But
I struck a nerve. Paul's favorite show is Barney Miller, and I apologize.
I'm not quite sure what that is. That's probably to you what Saved by the Bell is to me and people that are listening. But anyway,
I may be
so
a little old.
So let me ask you this though: of the mics, open mics that are open out there, does the genre that you play as a cover artist or original artist make a difference? I can see a lot of original artists saying, "Hey, look, I'm in a metal band, I'm in a country band, I'm in an indie band. I don't think this is right for me." What would you say to those folks?
Yeah, that's one of the nice things about our website or the open mic app is that the information that's on there is pretty detailed. We actually go into there's a music genres section on every single listing, and so the host or the venue owner can actually list the types of genres of music that they find acceptable. And the reason that they put that there is because that they have a regular crowd, and let's say that they do live music on the weekend. that's the kind of music that they hire. So it really keeps the round peg square hole thing from happening. The worst thing in the world is to show up, you're a country band and you show up at an open mic that's all rock, or you're a rock band and you show up at a country open mic. And, all you knew that it was an open mic, you didn't know anything else about it. So I would say, but there, believe me, it is the wheelhouse of open mics is going to be your classic rock cover thing, smattered with original singer-songwriter music. That tends to be, I would say, the majority. So 60%. But
now nationwide, or is that just in the Southeast? Because there are a lot of places I think that could go a different way.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. If you're in Texas, you're going to get more country. I mean, you just are. It's not that Texas is all country, but you're going to get more, right? You're just going to get more. In Nashville, as home of country music as they are, they're also they pump out a ton of pop music, a ton of
tons of rock.
Tons of rock. I mean, Nashville's all over the place. So, our site, openmicnashville.com, I mean, we've got everything from the Bluebird Cafe to, the guys, they're doing punk stuff. I mean, it's really all over the board. So the beautiful thing is, regardless of what your genre, there is an open mic out there for you. It might not be in the day of the week you want. It may not be in the exact town you want, but believe me, they're out there. So, don't say, oh, there's no open mics for me. I mean, there's open mics for hip hop. There's open mics for rap. There's open mics for country.
And I think that's the big takeaway there. Doesn't matter what town you're in. Go to Open Mic US, find the open mic that's right for you, make it your own, get involved, talk to people, shake those hands. You're listening, it's going to get loud. We're going to be back with David Craver from Open Mic US on the next segment. Stick around.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element. Affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Girls are talking rock again.
And people are listening.
Today we're talking bands.
Let's talk promotion. Red Giant promo, graphics, EPKs, video, photos, social media, and brand building using content marketing.
But let's talk studio at CCMA, which is events, rehearsal, tour prep, piano, guitar, voice, rock band, lessons, workshops, and clinics. Yeah!
Bulls, proud sponsors of Girls Talk Rock.
Well, get the lowdown on these services and contact me, Tracy, at girlstalkrock.com.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Going to Get Loud, the working musician's ultimate guide to striking a new path through today's music industry. With your host, Paul Nicholas.
All right, welcome back. We're talking to Dave Craver, the founder and CEO of Open Mic US. And so, Dave, in the last segment, we were talking about, ways that these guys can really get out there, the different types of open mics. And so, but what does the future hold for Open Mic US and open mics in general? Where are you guys going? And what are some great ways for people to get involved?
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. One of the things we were talking about is if there's a listener out there that says, I'd like to be an open mic host. I've got a sound system. I play out on the weekends. I make my living in music. I would really like to, make an extra $1,000 a month. Contact us. Go to Open Mic US, click on the email link. Just send us a note and say you want to get involved. What we do is we ask you to reach out to some local venues. I mean, if you're in St. Louis, a couple of places you play, personal relationships. We will arm you with everything you need to go into that person and say, hey, look, I'm working with the number one open mic company in the world. You should take a look at this. You don't have to sell it.
Yeah, a lot of musicians are kind of, afraid to, quote unquote, sell themselves or get out there and do that. So you guys basically give them the artillery to get out there and basically make it happen, no matter what town they're in and no matter where they are in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we're in 84 markets. We cover the entire country, and we realize everybody's not a salesperson, and that's fine. But everybody knows somebody in the biz. If you're playing out at all, one venue, one manager that's close, that hires you all the time. That's the guy. That's the one. Contact us. We'll just take it from there. We'll contact them. We'll introduce who we are, and then we'll say, and your friend, your guy, your musician is going to be our host. And this is and it's a team effort. We all go in together. We make a little bit of money. You make a little bit of money, and the venue gets a great open mic, and they make money. So you're going to be a hero, and it's really, really a good program to get involved with as a working musician.
And so outside of traditional, bars and clubs, what are some other opportunities that open mic hosts could be looking for? I mean, what are some other maybe non-traditional venues that people could break into and maybe make a name for themselves? I mean, country clubs, resorts, casinos, what are some other things people should be taking a look at?
Yeah, absolutely. A good point, Paul. One of the things we have been working on is open mics for community building. And so you mentioned like a country club. Country clubs, their number one concern is attrition, the loss of existing members. So the retention of existing members is everything. And the number one way to retain your membership is to build bonds between your members. And as musicians know, making music with somebody else is a very, very strong bond-building experience. One of my favorite sayings is, hearing music touches the heart, making music touches the soul. And so at the end of the day, if you can get people together that they belong to a country club or a community association, and it's hard to really get to know your neighbors. You put on a community open mic, and again, your listeners as musicians could be the host for that. We can be the promotions company for that, and we come with a very organized program, tried and true, and it's very easy to sell, very easy to get them to come on board. And we actually charge significantly more for that experience at a country club than we do at a bar. So the host will make more money, and it's there's very little pressure because the people that are going to come out to play are the members of the country club, and the audience is going to be their friends and family. So it's a really, really fun event, and it works for everybody involved.
Yeah, and I would say, myself having approached many different types of venues over the years, anything from, casinos, hotels, resorts, bars, clubs, restaurants, all these different kinds of things. Country clubs are very easy to work with because they have a lot of money. It's a low-pressure environment, and like you said, they're looking to just engage people. They're not necessarily looking for, a draw, like you don't need to bring 20 people on a given night, but you need to, engage the audience that's there. So more lucrative, but, much easier to work with and much lower stress.
Yeah, it's a really, really good gig in terms of playing out someplace. Playing at a country club is awesome. And again, if you're the host of an open mic event at a country club, you're going to be doing some performing, and next thing you know, they're going to hire you to come back and play for their high-priced
wedding or the big, huge, yeah. And that's where you make your $2,000 there, and not to mention, you might just network with the nice big millionaire there who funds your next record. But outside of that, Dave, you've got a lot of sponsorships that are going on with Open Mic US. Tell us a little bit about the nationwide sponsors that you have and why the artists should be excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. One of our sponsors is Fishman, and a lot of people know Fishman from their pickups or transducers. Their standard issue in many, many high-end guitars. They're really, really high-quality product. Larry Fishman is just an amazing audio engineer, designer. They came out with the SA220. It's a 220-watt PA that's similar in looks and actually similar in sound to the Bose PA system. Except that theirs is more feature rich, if you will. It's more compact. It travels better. It comes in a bag with wheels, and it really does. I had the Bose system, and I actually got rid of it when I got the SA220 because I thought it sounded just as good, and it really was more practical. It actually comes with onboard effects. I use it to run my open mic. I use it at every one of my solo gigs in all sizes of bars. It's for any indoor application, it's really all you need. It's just amazing. They're getting ready to come out with the SA300, which is a 300-watt version, and then they're offering a plug-in bass unit for it also. So it's if you want to get a little more thump out of the unit. You can do that. Personally, I don't think you need it, but there's people who want it.
And so that actually kind of. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just. You have a question on the Fishman?
Not on the Fishman. Actually, I was going to ask. So there's a lot of people that are going to be out there saying, "Okay, well, I know I need X amount of gear to execute as an open mic host." What would you recommend that they have? The Fishman gear is great, but somebody might be saying to themselves, well, I don't have a lot of money. What's the minimum amount of gear I need to have to be successful making that $1,000, $2,000 a month?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I got to tell you, the equivalent Bose system to what I have in my Fishman system is about $2,500. And the Fishman system is just under $1,000. So if you're talking, a complete PA for under $1,000, the only additional thing I would say, the additional equipment necessary to run an open mic, I would get a monitor. I would have stands, 2 microphones. Our good friends at Electro Voice, like the PL. PL80A, as a matter of fact, is an amazing performance mic. Get your cables. And then the only additional thing I'd say is probably a small mixer, probably because the the Fishman has 2 channels. It's created for the solo performer. And what I do is I run an 8-channel mixer into 1 channel of the Fishman, and it's everything you need. So I would say for $2,000 you could be set up golden to run an open mic.
Okay, yeah, I mean that's not too bad if you look at the return on that over over several months. So tell me where the future of not only your company is, but open mics in general are. What should people be excited about over the next couple of years? Yeah, absolutely.
We're working on an initiative that's unique. It's everybody's been in a bar where somebody walks through the door and there's a manager who you probably don't see, but there's a guy in charge, and then there's 2 girls, and they're probably scantily clad, and they're there offering a taste of a particular brand. Here's you want the Bud Light girls or whatever, and that's
Sure.
been it's called an on-premise promotion, and it's a standard industry practice forever. Well, the liquor and beer companies, they pay a third-party company to come out and do that for them. And the idea is it's both a sampling opportunity for them to get people who are in the bar to try their brand, but it's also a thank you to the venue saying, hey, we appreciate the fact that you carry our brand and you push our brand, and we're going to give this event to you for free. And the bars love it because it's, hey, you know what? It's a free promotion. We've taken a look at that and put together a program that we are now offering to liquor companies and beer companies, where they can actually, instead of sending out the 2 girls on the T-shirts, they send us in, and we come out with a full-blown open mic program. And instead of being a weekly recurring event, it's a one-off deal. And the reason that we can do that and have it be successful is we can promote it. Again, if you're in Chicago and we're going to do a one-off open mic at Joe's Bar and Grill, we can tell 9,000 people on our email list. We can put it on our website. We can put it on Twitter, and we can put it on Facebook. So
okay, I just want to make sure that you personally weren't showing up in the scantily clad T-shirt and all that kind of thing, because that just would kind of ruin the whole experience.
I've looked in the mirror, Paul, and I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that in some places that would work.
Maybe in Atlanta, not Chicago so much, but tell us a little bit more.
There are places, damn it, where I would be a hit. I can't name them because they're not readily available. So what's exciting about that is not only are we and all of the open mics that we actually run are have a little bit of different twists, and this is something else that your audience can really glom onto, because we offer a spotlight artist slot on every open mic. And whether we're doing a one-off in Chicago for a liquor company, or we're running an ongoing open mic in Tampa or Austin, every one of our events gives a 30-minute slot for a spotlight artist. So let's say you're a cover guy and you want to come out and you want to play cover songs. Well, no better way to audition for a paid gig than to do that. And, bring 10 people with you. Tell everybody, hey, I'm the spotlight artist. Come on out to, Rubio's Backyard in Austin this Wednesday at 7:00. They've got beer specials. They got this, they got that.
And that's definitely something that's available for Showslinger artists as well.
Exactly. Showslinger is definitely tied in with this program. We would love to see Showslinger artists involved in our Spotlight Artist program. As a matter of fact, you and I are going to integrate that further into our program and your program so that people can readily identify with that opportunity. as we expand our network and we're in more markets, the opportunity to play at the Spotlight Artist Program will be available through the ShowSlinger app and on the ShowSlinger.com website.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And so, Dave, we've got about 2 minutes left here. So, wrapping things up, what are the main takeaways from, the emerging artists about, open mics? What are the big pros, and how can they get involved today?
The real takeaway is that, if you're a pro, whether you're a cover artist or original artist, don't get hung up on the fact that you're not getting paid to play. The open mic is more of a social event. It's more of a community building event, and it's an excellent way to build a fan base, to get a paid gig at that particular venue, to get fans to come out to another gig where you are getting paid and they need to pay a cover fee to see you. So you go in there and you do 3 songs. You say, hey, if you like that, you're going to love the show over at Abbey's Bar. Okay, so definitely let it go. Go out, put yourself out there, and I find you will definitely benefit from the experience.
Put the ego aside. I mean, look, all the greats, I don't care, from Eric Clapton to Bono on down to, it doesn't matter. They've all done open mic, and they continue to do them too. I mean, you even see Slash and Bruce Springsteen ended up at, open mics in their hometown, this, that, and the other. So great way to get involved. And look, I don't care who you are. Even if you're a heavy touring professional, you're not playing more than 4, maybe 5 nights a week. You still got a couple of extra nights there. And I know that a lot of folks that we see in Atlanta, when they're off tour, they come in on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, to grab a drink, network, and it doesn't matter. You could always use more friends as a musician. So Dave Craver, thank you so much, CEO and founder of Open Mic. Thank you for being here. We're going to have you on again. Have a great rest of the evening. And we're going to be back next week with some really, really great content. So stick around. It's going to get loud next week on Enter Talk Radio. I'm Paul Nicholas, and we'll see you next time.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time, or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. Pitbull Audio.